UFC Noche Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili just ended, and this is going to be my full card post-fight. Call it UFC Noche, call it UFC 306, call it UFC sponsored by Riyadh Season, call it Spear or Sphere with no the in front of it, which they were doing all night. We're going to go through every fight on the card. I'm going to give my reaction and breakdown. And yeah, maybe if I remember at the end of the card, I'll give my thoughts on the overall Sphere experience for UFC Noche. If I remember, because it's damn near 5 a.m. and I'm breaking this fight card down. Let's jump right into it. Starting off with the first fight of the night, we have Mr. Cháirez himself, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aoriqileng. Raul wins a decision. First round, Raul's kind of winning on the feet, gets a single leg, gets a dominant position. I think he mounted him, started landing some damage. Looked for a rear naked choke towards the end of the round. Clearly won the first round. Second round, a little bit of brawling. Aoriqileng's getting the better of the stand-up. I scored it for him. He stuffed takedowns. I thought Aoriqileng took the second round. Heading into the third, I'm like, it's 1-1. If Raul loses this fight, his hype's dead, completely dead. Third round, Raul used his grappling, got a takedown, got some control, did some knees to the body from side control. Won the third round, but underwhelming round. And then, you know, you have him going on the mic afterwards. He does the whole Cháirez, thing that he does, and people kind of eat that up. He's like, 3, 2, 1, and everyone's like, Cháirez. And luckily he wasn't left hanging like Jessica here we go, evil, here we go. If you know, you know. But yeah, then he asks for a ranked opponent next. This performance didn't show me that he's ready for a ranked opponent. He did not look great in this fight. Aoriqileng is a guy that he probably should dominate. I think I picked him via first round sub. And he's fighting a hard-fought decision, 29-28 decision against Aoriqileng. Definitely not ready for top 15. Then he has the audacity to ask for 50K. He said, 50 G's, baby. Quoting Conor McGregor from back in the day. Yeah, you, my friend, are not getting 50K at all. And I don't believe he did, which he shouldn't have. But Raul gets it done. Another learning performance. He's still young. I'm kind of being harsh on him, but he's still very, very young. Still has plenty of time to improve. And he got it done via decision against Aoriqileng. Next fight on the card. And there's something wrong with the website, so I'm not clicking on this one. We have Edgar Cháirez versus Joshua Van. I don't know why I said it like that. Joshua Van. Crazy fight. Probably the best fight on the card. Should have got fight of the night. I don't know if it did because there was other crazy fights. First round, Cháirez was battering the legs, landing good jabs, dropped him with a 1-2, looking like he's going to smoke Joshua Van. Van had some moments, and he started building back towards the end of the first round, but clearly lost the first round. Second round, and I talked about the Kevin Borjas fight for Joshua Van. When I'm watching the fight live, I'm like, Van can make adjustments and build back. Second round, he starts smashing Cháirez, landing body shots and, landing some leg kicks of his own and just walking him down and boxing him up, and hurts him bad and just starts smashing him and getting close to finishing him. And Cháirez lands a spinning back fist. Hurts Joshua Van really badly. Van shoots in on a takedown. Ends up, on the ground at one point. I think he ended up on bottom from Cháirez, and Cháirez then let him up. And then, or maybe Van did get the takedown. I can't remember for sure. Sorry, it's 5 a.m. I've been up way too long. But they ended up on the ground. They end up back on their feet. Van's kind of recovered. Van starts smashing him on the feet again. Then gets hurt again himself. Second round was a wild and crazy round, but I thought Van did more damage. When he was, there was moments where Cháirez hurt him, but Van was just smashing him when he did have him hurt and looking to get him out of there. Crazy second round. I scored it for Van. And then the third round, very, very competitive. Van got like a trip and ended up in a top position. Cháirez got up. Van was just looking to mix in takedowns. They were up against the fence, and at one point, Van went for a leg lock. I think it was a kind of a failed takedown attempt that he kind of, on the fly decided to go for a leg lock. They end up in a clinch. Van got another takedown, a little bit of control time, a little bit of ground and pound. I thought Van won the third round. So I scored 2 and 3 for Van. And ultimately, I think that's what the judges scored. I don't remember. Tapology, of course, doesn't have the scorecards. I just remembered that. But it was a unanimous decision win for Joshua Van. And I believe it was 29-28, which I haven't seen the exact scorecards, but I would assume it would be 2 and 3 for Van because there's no doubt that Van lost round 1. Next fight on the card, we have Yasmin Jauregui versus Ketlen Souza. I can click on this fight, apparently, according to UFC's website. Yasmin Jauregui gets brutally chinned in the first round. They both kicked each other right in the, right in the puss, for lack of a better word. I don't even know what to say right now. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. They both kick each other there. Yasmin got an easy takedown early. Like, I think it was a single leg, but then let her up. I don't know why that's not looked at as a takedown, but she threw her down for a second. Let her up. Left hook. Nasty left hook by Souza. Basically flash KOs her. Then just jumps right on a rear naked choke. And Yasmin Jauregui cannot get out of it. Ketlen Souza chokes her out cold 2 minutes into the first round. Great performance by Ketlen Souza. It's like Yasmin, I mean, who else has she been knocked out by? Didn't she recently get knocked out? Yeah, she got knocked out by Denise Gomes. It's like these little Brazilian ladies are just knocking her out. I mean, not really. I mean, she didn't get knocked out in this fight, but basically she did. She was out cold when she got clipped. And then it ended up being a rear naked choke. I know I'm kind of, double speaking there, but you get my point. She got hurt badly, basically flash KO'd, ends up giving up the rear naked choke. Great win from Ketlen Souza. Next fight on the card, we have Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. What a straight up banger this fight was. I knew this was going to live up to the hype. First round KO for Ignacio Bahamondes. Manuel Torres had some moments, but he was just too aggressive and overextending. He's overextending. He's landing some shots. Boom. Step back right hand. Hurts him badly. He somehow survives. I mean, it could have been stopped at one point, but he somehow survives. Is able to kind of regain, I think, like guard, stacked guard. Eventually gets back to his feet. And he immediately gets back to his feet and starts being over-aggressive and overextending himself again. Gets clipped with another nasty right hand. Dropped badly. This time he cannot recover. And Ignacio Bahamondes absolutely just destroys him on the ground with follow-up shots. I picked Manuel Torres going in this fight just because I believe he had more firepower. But Bahamondes, I should have known, man. He trains with Bilal Muhammad. Remember the name Bilal Muhammad. I should have known that Bahamondes was going to get it done. And he's the more technical striker. And I think he has a promising future. And I think this was a great win for Bahamondes and one of the best performances of the night. I mean, Bahamondes, he ate some shots himself, but he stayed composed. He stayed technical. He found his kill shot. And man, did he brutalize Torres with that right hand. He would just step back as Torres is overextended and just bink. He did it twice. It's not like it was luck. He did it twice. Same exact shot twice. Second time, he was able to finish him off on the ground with ground and pound and get it done. Great win from Ignacio Bahamondes. Next fight on the card, we have Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Oh my goodness. Aldana won. I'm sorry, Aldana did not win. Dumont won. I don't know why I keep mixing up these two names. Dumont won every round, in my opinion. Nasty, nasty cut. Aldana got cut in the second round. There was a head clash, and then Dumont was landing good shots on the feet. Third round, Aldana was bleeding so badly, she was lifting up her shirt and wiping off her face. It would have been stopped any other fight, but I guess they just let it go because it really started to get bad towards the end of the third round. But it was probably the nastiest cut I've ever seen in UFC history. But the majority of the fight was Aldana just plotting forward with a super high guard and then Dumont landing counters, Dumont circling. Dumont did start to slow down towards the end. There was an elbow, a step-in elbow that Dumont landed in the third round that I think made the cut way worse. And, I mean, Aldana took a beating in this fight. A brutal, brutal beating. And she was just following her. And she wasn't cutting her off. And she was just trying to land a left hook, a leaping left hook. And Dumont's hands actually look crisp. I think Dumont could be a champion in the bantamweight division. I know that's not saying much. The bantamweight division is kind of garbage. I think Dumont literally could be a champion. I think you're looking at like a Kayla Harris and Norma Dumont in the future fight for the title. So she gets it done against Irene Aldana. Aldana just walks forward like a zombie. It was the nastiest cut I've ever seen. Some of the most blood I've ever seen in the cage, basically since like the Bigfoot Silva Cain Velasquez one fight. And Dumont gets it done just outstriking her, side kicks to the body, maintaining a range. You know, when she did need to, she would sit down on her punches and land combinations, and she gets it done. I think it was 30-27 decision. That's what I scored it anyway. Next fight on the card, opening up the main card. Amazing fight, amazing fight. Borderline robbery. Ronaldo Rodríguez versus Ode Osbourne. Ronaldo Rodríguez gets it done, allegedly, via decision, unanimous decision. Scorecards were weird. I don't even remember what the scorecards were. I think two judges gave Rodríguez a 10-8, but didn't give Ode Osbourne a 10-8, which is crazy. Ode Osbourne starts tagging him early, then tags him with a right hook that literally KOs him. Then he follows him down with another shot and lands another shot that puts him out cold again because the first one was a flash KO. Wakes up eating ground and pound. Ode Osbourne goes for a triangle, gets a super tight triangle, While he's looking for the triangle, he starts smashing him with elbows. Somehow Rodríguez survived and just laid on top of him. Ode Osbourne had a point where he had to feet on the hips and could have pushed him off after he abandoned the triangle and didn't, just laid there. I don't know why he did that. 10-8 Ode Osbourne for sure. Second round, Rodríguez looked for a takedown. Ode Osbourne pulled guillotine. Had kind of a tight guillotine, but didn't have full guard. So he's not going to finish it. Rodríguez pushed off the cage, scrambled, ends up getting full mount, back mount, just starts smashing him with elbows. I don't know how Ode Osbourne's surviving. I think at one point he pushed off the cage and was scrambling out. And I scored round 2. I thought it was a 10-8 for Rodríguez. I thought Ode Osbourne was definitely more definitive 10-8 in round 1. And then the third round was not that hard to score. Ode Osbourne was outstriking him, jabbing him, landing an occasional big shot. Had a takedown, didn't do much with it. And then late, last 60 seconds, Ode Osbourne shot another takedown. Rodríguez kind of reverse position, ends up on top, 45 seconds to go. It starts spamming these ground and pound shots, and Ode Osbourne just landing elbows from the bottom, and none of the shots from Rodríguez landed. Thought Ode Osbourne clearly won the round 3. So I thought 1 and 2 cancel each other out, both 10-8 rounds, and then round 3 was Ode Osbourne. So I thought Ode Osbourne should have got the win, but ultimately it's a unanimous decision win for Ronaldo Rodríguez. Can he be a star for some of the Mexican fan base? Yes, he could be. Could this be Ode Osbourne's last fight? Going into the third round, they said, you're fighting for your job. The corner told Ode Osbourne, you're fighting for your job. But, Ode Osbourne has no grappling. I guess he has some submission attempts, so he has some BJJ, but he doesn't have grappling, man. He doesn't, he could have got out from underneath Rodríguez in the first round. He mixed in the offensive grappling in the third round. All he needed to do was really keep it standing. He was going to win this fight. He was the superior striker, leaps and bounds better. But ultimately, he plays a game where, he ends up on bottom for a large portion and kind of gets screwed on the scorecards. I thought, he should have got it done. I thought you could even make the case maybe the second round wasn't a 10-8. I would score it a 10-8. But yeah, Ronaldo Rodríguez gets it done over Ode Osbourne. Next fight on the card, Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. Crazy, crazy, crazy fight. First round, razor close, I thought. Ribovics. This was a split decision win for Esteban Ribovics, by the way. First round was close. Esteban Ribovics was being aggressive. Zellhuber's kind of being more tactical, landing the jab, ripping to the body towards the end of the round. I thought Zellhuber kind of stole it at the end, landed a couple really good solid shots at the end, ripping to the body. I thought he stole the first round. Second round was razor close, even closer than the first round. Both guys were landing, kind of similar situation where Ribovics being aggressive, Zellhuber's landing good shots. And landing teeps and knees up the middle, and Ribovics kind of being aggressive but sloppy and kind of missing. Then the third round, Ribovics gets dropped with a nasty standing elbow, step-in elbow. But then Ribovics hurts Zellhuber a minute later. And Ribovics wasn't hurt so bad that he almost got finished after the elbow, but kind of got dropped. Starts swarming Zellhuber. Zellhuber's doing just enough. He's backing up against the fence, and then he's circling out, and he's stumbling over his own feet, and the referee's getting close to stopping it, and he somehow survives. Starts throwing back. There was a brawl for the last 45 seconds of the fight. And I thought Ribovics won the third round. I didn't even think it was a 10-8 because he got hurt himself. And Zellhuber started to come back later in the round. So I scored it 29-28 for Zellhuber, winning the first and second round. I don't think it was a robbery. Again, round 2 was razor close. Round 1 was pretty close. And round 3, Ribovics clearly won. But I think this is a learning experience for both of them. They're both young. They're both very good. And I don't think you can really shame either guy for the performance. And this was the fight of the main card. I mean, this was a great, great fight on the main card. Really enjoyed it. Daniel Zellhuber, still young, have to build back. He lost to Trey Ogden. Now he lost to Ribovics. Ribovics is in a really good spot in the division right now. I think both are probably future top 15 guys. Maybe. It's a bit of a stretch, but I could see that totally happening. But great win for Esteban Ribovics. Next fight on the card. The featured bout on UFC Noche. Brian Ortega, Diego Lopes. Crazy first round. Diego Lopes hurt him badly with a right hand, then a left hand. Starts smashing him on the ground, follows him down on the ground. Ortega barely stays in the fight. Lopes landing big ground and pound. Ortega was looking to set up triangle chokes. Eventually, Lopes finally let Ortega up, and then it was Lopes' pace had slowed down significantly. Ortega looked sloppy. And then basically the rest of the fight was like Lopes just landing the bigger shots. Second round was a little bit closer. Ortega striking looked like ass. Shot one takedown. Lopes not throwing as many shots, but still landing big shots and landing some good, nasty leg kicks throughout for Lopes. Lopes was chopping the legs. In the second round, Ortega's leg was so battered, was absolutely battered. Took him off his feet once. It was swollen. There was a head kick in the second round from Lopes. And that's pretty much the story of the fight. Like Lopes smashing the leg, Lopes landing the bigger shots, Ortega just looking sloppy on the feet. Third round, basically same thing. I mean, landing the bigger shots, dropped Ortega with like 30 seconds to go. Wasn't able to finish him. Ortega's super tough and durable. I originally picked Diego Lopes via decision. I ended up switching to a TKO. He almost got it in the first round. Maybe this is a hot take. I think Brian Ortega's shit, man. I know he beat Yair, but Yair is just so weak in the grappling and almost had Ortega out of there in the first round. And I just think Ortega's striking his shit. What, does he got to win over TKZ? Oh, no. Like, what's his wins in the last few years? This was a matchup that I thought I clamored for this fight for a while. And Lopes hasn't even been around that long. But he beats Ortega. He's calling for a title shot. I'd like to see him fight the winner of Movsar Aljamain Sterling for next title shot. But imagine a future fight between Topuria and Lopes. That's a banger, and that's what the UFC is probably determined on doing. Ultimately, I still think Lopes showed some serious holes in his game. I don't trust his cardio all that much. He started to slow down after the first round, but he did kind of blow his load for looking for the finish, pause. But yeah, I just don't think Ortega's that good, man. I just really don't. Lopes, I'm very high on him. I like Lopes quite a bit. I'm not picking him to beat Volkanovski right now. Could he chin him? Yes, he could. I'm not picking him to beat Holloway. I'm not picking him to beat Topuria right now. I still think, he should be like one fight away, probably. I think a rematch against Movsar for number one contender if Movsar beats Aljo's the fight to make. But yeah, Diego Lopes gets it done. Next fight on the card, we have Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko 3. I hate my life. I picked Valentina Shevchenko in the first two fights. I switched my pick to Grasso. Of course, Shevchenko wins this one. Look, Shevchenko just dominated her. Grasso looked for submissions. And there was a couple times where it was like, oh, the guillotine's close. But for the most part, Shevchenko was landing the right hand, taking her down, beating her up, doing some decent ground and pound, grappling early and often, and Grasso had nothing to offer. There was, I think the biggest moment in the fight was when she had the guillotine, which was fourth round. She had a guillotine attempt after Valentina Shevchenko's shot, but it wasn't really that close. But there was moments where she's looking for triangles, she's looking for arm bars. I think there was a moment in the fifth round where Shevchenko was grappling and Grasso took her back for a second on the ground, but Shevchenko kicked off the fence, scrambled back to her feet. Grasso, was she a fluke champion? I'm beginning to say the answer is yes. Shevchenko beat her the last time, I thought, but I thought Shevchenko's getting old. She's got that crusty lip. She's not drinking water. Grasso's younger. She's been in there now. This is going to be the third time she's been in there with her. Boxing's improving. Her jiu-jitsu's good. But yeah, Shevchenko dominated. Won every single round. It wasn't really particularly close. Grasso was just throwing up submissions off her back the entire fight and never really got particularly crazy close to any of them. Even though during the guillotine, I think you had Mark Smith checking her arm, Valentina, to make sure she was still awake. So Grasso loses her belt. Luckily, we don't have to watch this again. Hot take, maybe again. Maybe I'm just really, really tired. I'm struggling to stay awake right now. It's 5 a.m. I think Manon Fior beats Valentina Shevchenko. I'm pretty confident in that. Looked very flat-footed. Looked kind of sluggish in this fight. Grasso had no takedown defense. Was getting taken down in the dead center of the cage and controlled there. Yeah, Shevchenko got it done. Good win for Shevchenko. She gets back her flyweight title. Next fight on the card, the main event. Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili for the bantamweight title. Merab went out there and snatches the belt off of Sugar Sean. Look, Merab gets it done, man. This was my early prediction. I thought Merab was a nightmare matchup for O'Malley. Unfortunately, I changed my pick. I'm kicking myself for it. I'm actually a little bit annoyed about that. But Merab dominated him, man. He took him down like 2 minutes into the first round. There was a crazy moment in the first round where he's yelling back and forth with Tim Welsh. Literally like 10 seconds into the fight, Herb interjects, stops it, and tells Merab to stop, tells Tim Welsh to stop. Welsh ends up complaining about it after the first round and saying, basically I can do what I want. Supposedly Welch is yelling instructions to Merab. Allegedly, that's the rumor. That's what he did against Aljo. Herb yells at him for that. Herb yells at Merab. There's some crazy moments in this fight with the reffing. Herb was actually a horrible ref in this fight, by the way. But the story of the fight, we'll talk about some of the weird moments. But I did a full breakdown of this fight. I already did a video on it. If you guys care to check that out, I will link it down in the description as well as the end cards. It was just Merab ragdolling him, controlling him, beating him up. O'Malley had some success stuffing some of the single legs, but even when he was out at range, he wasn't landing that much. He was landing some punches to the body, occasional like a good shot upstairs, but really didn't have any success throughout the fight. Was just getting out grappled. Third round was kind of close, but I thought Merab still clearly won it. Was landing some knees in the clinch. O'Malley had some success towards the end of that round, and that's what two of the judges gave O'Malley round 3. Round 4 was dominant. Round 2 was dominant. Round 5 was the round O'Malley won. Merab took him down. Herb's clapping nonstop. Work, nonstop throughout the entire fight. Trying to bait Merab into getting KO'd. I think someone paid off Herb Dean. And, as he's like kind of smashing him a little bit against the fence, O'Malley breaks, lands a teep kick that hurts Merab. Merab starts circling. O'Malley tries to track him down. Doesn't really throw any hands. Starts throwing more teep kicks. Isn't able to really do anything. Merab survives. Gets the takedown late as well. And that's the only round I gave to Sean O'Malley. Now, the second round, you have Merab beating him up, grappling him with him. Start looking for a guillotine at the end of the second round. It's like 10 seconds left. He starts kissing O'Malley on the neck, giving him a hickey. And Herb yells, "Stop." Merab then stops and turns his back because he thinks the round's over. O'Malley jumps up and tries to KO him. Then Herb blames Merab. "No, dude, you said stop. And then you let Sean O'Malley hit me." So Herb did a terrible job reffing this fight. There was a good moment. I believe it was in the second round. O'Malley cheated multiple times in this fight and still couldn't win. He didn't get the robbery win like he did against Jan. First round was grabbing the fence. Second round was grabbing deep in the glove to try to get a triangle choke when Merab was beating him up. Herb stopped the fight, yelled at O'Malley, put him back in the position. But Merab had O'Malley frozen on the feet because O'Malley was worried about the takedowns, and so he wasn't able to get off. And Merab was pressuring forward when he needed to. He was backing up when he needed to. He was finishing takedown. I mean, if he got a hold of O'Malley, he's finishing takedowns with ease. We should have saw this coming a mile away. I said this before the fight. No matter what the outcome is, we're going to all say, well, we should have saw this coming a mile away. I mean, look at the way Jan was able to take him down, O'Malley. And look what Merab did to Jan. So I know MMA math doesn't always work and the striking differential, and Jan used the striking to set up the takedowns, but I wasn't a big believer in Sean O'Malley's takedown defense. I thought it was good enough, but I was a believer in the distance management. And Merab was able to close the distance fast and find those takedowns. And just, first round, he got the clinch and then tripped him. And then, second round, I think it was the second round. No, it was the end of the first round. Merab went for a guillotine as well and almost mounted O'Malley. But O'Malley had really no moments other than the fifth round. But I don't think this was a horrible performance by O'Malley. I think he can build back and still be a legit contender. I think he got a bit exposed here. And you look back at his resume, and now it's not looking so good. Piotr Jan, robbery win. I thought Jan won 30-27. Beats Aljo, but most optimal circumstances. Gets an easy title defense against Chito Vera. Avoids Merab. Then he finally fights Merab at UFC Noche, and Merab goes out there and exposes him in the grappling and wins the bantamweight title. So Dana's definitely not happy. Dana's heated about this. He was expecting this to be O'Malley's transcendence to the UFC stardom, and that was not the case. Merab went out there and dominated. I know people are going to say, Merab's boring. Merab's boring. Oh, my God. Go watch WWE. Go watch kickboxing. This is MMA. There is grappling. And I think it was a highly, contested, high skill level, interestingly contested fight where it was like Merab constantly trying to close the distance, O'Malley constantly looking for that KO shot. I enjoyed this fight. Does it have great rewatchabilities at a Yuri fight? Absolutely not. But Merab went out there and did what he needed to do to win. And he's already stacking up a GOAT resume. Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley. I mean, Merab's stacking up a resume. And he's probably fighting Umar next, even though he doesn't want to. I think ultimately he will fight him. I don't think he's actually going to duck him, even though he's trying to set the narrative to duck him. UFC Plan A was for O'Malley to win, which is what they were hoping for. Plan B is quick turnaround for Merab against Umar Nurmagomedov. That's what they're aiming for. They did a split screen in the post-fight, try to steal some of Merab's shine. But what about Umar? What about Umar showing him on the screen? I think they'll try to force Merab into a quick turnaround. But ultimately, I don't think it happened. Sean O'Malley doesn't stick around, doesn't give a post-fight interview in the cage. I guess Merab was rambling on for too long, so he decided to get out of there. But yeah, Merab served Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch some humble pie by dominating their boy. And I know Dana White is not a happy camper tonight. He's probably like, John Jones got a dark side though. He's definitely not. I guarantee, I haven't watched the whole post-fight. I guarantee he didn't say anything of praise about Merab at all, because Dana only cares about trying to attract casuals for, maximizing profit. But yeah, guys, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Check out the main event breakdown. I did like a 20-minute breakdown of the main event immediately following the card. Thank you for checking out the full card post-fight. Final thoughts, actually. The Sphere, or as they're calling it, Sphere. First off, calling it Sphere and not the Sphere, it was just very, very bizarre. Look, I'm kind of in between. I think there's people that are going to say it's trash. There's people that's going to say it's the greatest thing ever. First fight, I thought it was shit. Audio was terrible. I'm hearing drones fly over. Lighting was shit. As the fight went on, as the fight card went on, it got better. The audio got better. The lighting got better. Overall, it was a novelty experience. All the graphics I thought were kind of cool, but they all seemed AI generated. I don't know if they actually were and then tweaked by artists. They seemed AI generated. I'm sure it was a phenomenal card to be there live for. But at the end of the day, I have a filter on my brain. I've talked about this in some of my live streams. There's just certain things, I just don't care about. I don't pay attention to, pop culture or politics. And my brain just naturally filters it out. No matter what I'm looking at, no matter what I'm experiencing, I just filter it out. And while I was paying attention to the card and the graphics, I don't even know what it, okay, it's Love Letter to Mexico. I couldn't tell you a single thing I saw on the screen. There were some environments, there were some buildings, but I don't know what they were saying. It was just my brain was filtering it out. I respect the UFC for doing something new. I respect them for spending a lot of money to do something new. I thought it was a great break from the mundane, typical UFC card. I don't think it took away from anything overall, so I applaud the UFC for doing it. But overall, even if you are one of the people who loved it and said, oh, it was great and the graphics were crazy, are you going to remember any of that story in 2 weeks? I'm certainly not. I don't remember it now, let alone in 2 weeks. So overall, I think the setup was cool. I think it was a good change. Pacing, it seemed like the card was a lot longer because of it. I swear there's not normally commercials during pay-per-views. I was getting Burger King commercials during the pay-per-view. Did it translate to television? Yeah, it translated to television, okay. I'm sure in the arena it was absolutely phenomenal, insane, and immersive. But overall, for me, I don't really care that much. Card was okay. There were some great fights on the card. Dana's not going to be happy with the co-main and main for sure. But yeah, Sphere overall, I don't know what more to say. Other than I think it was a unique experience that I'm never really even going to remember. And I think people who were there live will. But for people who watch on TV, it's just it is what it is. Again, it was great to break up the mundane UFC card. But to be honest, it just was kind of filler for me. It was just filler. So let me know what you guys thought about the Sphere, or let me know what you thought about Sphere live in Sphere. And I love the shots from outside the arena, showing the replays on the actual Sphere itself. Drone shots, very low quality, but the environments did get better as the fight went on. The entries looked pretty cool. The way they filmed it looked pretty good. So overall, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. But let me know what you guys think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.